Hello, lovely podcast people. This podcast is one I probably won't release for a while because I'm just slightly concerned and overthinking the fact that I don't do enough nutrition-based podcasts episodes. What's funny is on Spotify, I am in like the top 10, I think, careers podcasts, which is so bizarre. I don't really know how it's been sort of hashtagged or labeled as careers. But anyway, I'd much rather it was like, I think there's stuff in there about like how to live a happy life or something. I'd much rather be in that section. I mean, I want to be in the nutrition section if I'm frank, but if I was going to be anywhere other than that. So I don't know when I'll release this one, but a Facebook memory popped up and it from 6 years ago, I think it was. And essentially it finished with what was it? That's bad, isn't it? Something like, enjoy the process. I'm now desperately trying to see if I've got Instagram on my phone to see if I can log on. No, it's a spare phone. To see if I can remember. That's really bad, isn't it? Enjoy the process. But it's something that I have mentioned and talked about recently. And it tied in with something I saw Jimmy Carr saying. I think he was on a podcast and essentially he was on Stephen Bartlett's podcast. And I think he said something about what's the meaning of life or what's the goal, route to happiness or something like that. And he just said, enjoy the passage of time. I was like, boom, that is strong. And this is just one of those podcasts which is going to be a wisdom episode. And I just want to be frank and transparent with you. I don't always know why I'm doing these, but if it can just help one person. I had a chat with a very close friend this morning about outlook on life and how I just felt that they were letting... It's such when I say stuff, I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm so cliche. I'm just a copycat. I'm a fraud because I'm just like channeling much, much more wise and great people than I, but they stick in my head and they are things I use. And I hope that I imitate and live out, and therefore, my children, as much as I'm going to talk to them about stoicism, really they're going to copy my actions and behaviors rather than just what I tell them to do or what I say or what they should do. But yeah, essentially this thing of, it's like the richest man is not he who has a lot of things. It's he who is content with having little or content with what he has. Because if you have everything you want, you are as rich as you can be. And I've said this before in my gratitude episode, which I think was 10 or 11, because I said to them, please go and listen to episode 10 and 11, just like on your travels, 10 and 11, happiness and gratitude. I think I said something like, happiness is not a destination, it's a gratitude-based journey or something like that. That's quite a good quote. That's a Martin McDonald original that. I need to put that somewhere. Whoever time points this podcast for me, please put that somewhere. But I essentially said, I just feel like you're falling into the trap too often of thinking about what you don't have instead of being grateful for what you do. It's so simple. It's so easy to say. But again, when you have true friends and good friends that you allow to speak into your life, hopefully, and I think based off the conversation, it went really well and they were really grateful. And hopefully, they then implement and consider and, take the first step. Often that's it. It's just take that first step, have that reminder. And that's why I think I do these podcasts. If I can just help one person, if I can just help someone take that first step, it may be something you've heard 100 times before. This is even with nutrition stuff. Sometimes it just hits you on the right day at the right time. And if I can be the vessel for that, then fantastic. I've done some good in the world. So yeah, it can be a bit cliche and it can be so simple, but sometimes just that reminder of, you know what, I need to take a step back and have a think about this. And the reason I was going to record this podcast, or because just a few stars aligned, is because I recently her friend, an MNU graduate. She's very wise. She's gone through some really tough times, and she was super, super grateful to us for essentially supporting her through those tough times as a business. And we, as a team, ended up just loving her. And she's almost then, seen tough times that I've gone through and be really nice about it. But I said to her, she was like, how are you? I hadn't spoken for months. And I was like, I'm doing good. I'm doing better. I said, but ask me in January 2023. This was my exact message. Ask me how I am in January 2023. And I'll be back to the old me. I'll be happy. And she doesn't actually know this. So I don't think she probably doesn't. She's too busy to listen to my podcast. She has a family and 3 children and a life and a job. So yeah, anyway. So maybe I'll send it to her. But I then thought to myself, and I have been writing off time because of just big things that are happening and just getting through. And it's like, when this is done, then I'll be able to relax. Even right now, I email my solicitor. This is very transparent podcast, isn't it? Shh, soz. And said, I cannot explain to you how much better my mental health is now that I have basically won my children, which is, that's why I'm like stumbling over my words, because just what else do you say? Like, I now have the law on my side. I now have been able to, after 14 months of ridiculousness, have an external, it's absurd, isn't it? The courts, but I mean, just what else would you do? But fortunately, in my instance, it's all, gone fantastically because it's just so, it's a very clear-cut thing on paper. But I said to my sister, my mental health is so much better, which is kind of a bit of a surprise to me. Just cool. It's just nice. Anyway, but I just thought there's still things to clean up and tidy up and whatever. And I was like, you know what? This will all be over and be a new stage of my life. And then I thought, I am writing off 6 months or so of my life just getting through, just getting by. And it's not to say that there's anything wrong with that. There have been dark days where getting to the next day was the focus, and that's absolutely fine. But actually, you know what? My life is brilliant in almost every way. And yet I'm still not me. I still, not got closure on a couple of things, big things, but just writing off that passage of time. It's absurd. And so that's why this post from 6 years ago, where it's like, enjoy the process. And that enjoy the process was specific to, don't rush your business. Don't rush to tick off different life achievements. Enjoy the process. Dieting. Don't rush to get to a weight. Learn to enjoy the process. Learn to sculpt that process and be the architect of your own process, so that process is something that you fall in love with, that you feel at peace with, that you're not fighting yourself, you're not hating yourself into change. And it's like the saying that I've said multiple times recently of, the man who enjoys walking will walk further than the man who enjoys the destination. And that's important for fat loss, because there are life circumstances. I've talked about, intentional weight gain, positive framing of weight regain, especially lean body mass weight regain at the end of a diet and those kind of things. But there are also life circumstances where you will oscillate around a different body weight point. And having tools, and the really important, not having the negative impacts on your mindset and your psychology as a result of those fluctuations, is super important. So not hating yourself and hating life in the process because, I'll be happy when I reach the goal. That's a big thing. When my body looks like this, I'll be happy. That's not necessarily the case. If you, in that process, learn to nourish yourself, look after yourself, do things you enjoy, get social benefits from going to a CrossFit box or whatever they're called, the joining a sports team, whatever it doing some kind of activity, through doing exercise, the impacts that has on mental health in and of itself physiologically, then fantastic. And then then the reward of achieving goals and the reward that comes with dedication to a cause, to a process, and seeing success, as well as then the body changes that were the underlying goal, for instance, then you might end that process happier. But you go, I want to be this weight. You get to that weight. You hated the process. You beat yourself up getting there. You ruined your relationship with food. That's not the goal. So enjoying the passage of time, enjoying the process. For me, it was, I wish I enjoyed. And do you know what I did? For years and years and years and years and years and years of my business, I just enjoyed the process. I had no goals. I had no monetary goals. I had no business size goals. All I wanted was just to do nutrition and do it well and help people. And I loved each day, and I loved each new client that I got. And every single one was just a win for me, daily, weekly, monthly. And there were different times where actually, I went to tick off new goals, especially in life, graduate from school, go to university, like, fine. I don't necessarily have regrets because they've led to where I am now. But I know for a fact I shouldn't have ticked off certain goals and just looked to tick them off, buy a house, whatever. And in business, there were points where it's like, I need to make sure that XYZ happens. And you know what? Saying that out loud, I'm like, do you know what? I massively, massively enjoyed the process. Even some of the really hardcore grind stuff that had to be done. Otherwise, MNU, for instance, wouldn't be what it is today. I'm really happy I did that grind. I enjoyed the process. And actually, dedication to a cause sometimes comes with casualties of whatever that is. And maybe you couldn't, achieving greatness very often requires some level of obsession or dedication. Doesn't always. I say it doesn't always. I haven't actually thought deeply into that. But I know for sure you can have a very, very successful, lucrative business without making huge sacrifices. It might take a little bit longer. It needs a specific business model, but that was not the way I went. Anyway, so enjoying the passage of time, enjoy the process, even try and thrive and flourish in the hard times, seeing adversity as a chance to learn and grow, and focusing on what you do have and what you have to be positive about. This is what I was telling myself when I sort of heard myself ask me, and I've written off 6 months of my life. Not good. I feel like you hit a certain age and you go, I am not wishing another day or week or month or year away, and wishing away 6 months, or just even accepting, okay, I just need to get through this. No, I'm not going to get through this next 6 months. I'm going to flourish. I'm going to do good. I'm going to enjoy all the great things that I do for others and myself in that time. So yeah, I feel like this podcast was better than I expected it to be now, actually, as I got going. So who knows when I'll release it. If you do enjoy it, I love hearing that. I do need encouragement to do these, I think. So don't be shy to do so if you want to. At the same time, I had absolutely no expectations of people to review the podcast, to thank me for anything I do. There's another life lesson that I definitely said somewhere before of like, have as little expectations of others as possible if you want to be happy. Because I know this is a free podcast, and the way that we are, it's like, why should you have to thank me? It's there, it's open, you didn't ask for it, I just did it. So yeah, but I do hope it was helpful. And I thank you so much to those of you who do reach out, who comment on stuff. It's really cool. Anyway, I will go and continue enjoying the rest of 2022. And I hope you will have taken something from this podcast that will help you do that too. Much love.